For some, thin and light is important, while for others, elegance and usability are more important. Your needs may vary, and that's precisely the reason why we love comparisons. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and let's compare the Oppo R5 versus the HTC One M8. Trying to compare these devices is a tad difficult when it comes to hardware. On one hand, both devices share an aluminum design and a large display, but that's really the only similarity that you'll find. In dimensions alone, the Oppo R5 is actually 2mm taller and 4mm wider than the One M8, but then the One M8 is twice as thick as the R5, even if both devices share almost the same weight at 160 and 155 grams respectively. You would think that the smoother curves and narrower body on the One M8 would actually make it more comfortable to hold in one hand, but the R5's smooth chamfers and thinner body also give it a comfortable and sturdy feel. The advantage that the R5 has is that the capacitive buttons give you a more comfortable navigation experience when compared to the One M8's 1-inch separation between the usable display and the bottom of the phone. Once we talk specifications, the disparity continues. The R5 sports a 5.2-inch 1080p AMOLED display compared to the 5-inch 1080p IPS display on the One M8. Both displays have good color accuracy, but again, because of the capacitive buttons on the R5, the 5.2-inch display is fully available to you compared to the One M8. The rest of the internals are significantly different though, and where it would be pointless to compare them since the One M8 is significantly more powerful than the R5. What matters most to you is that the One M8 has a bigger 2600 mAh battery compared to the 2000 mAh battery on the R5. Both of these batteries are non-removable, but the R5 takes the edge in that you can fully charge it in less than an hour with its VOOC rapid charging technology, something that does not exist on the One M8. That said, the HTC One M8 has an IR port and it starts at 32 gigs of expandable storage up to 128 gigs, something you won't find with the non-expandable 16 gigs of the R5 and no IR blaster. The One M8 also has its famous boom sound from firing speakers, and even though the R5 has a front-firing speaker, it's not dual stereo like the One M8. Overall, when it comes to hardware, both devices are gorgeous, elegant, and even though one is more well-equipped than the other, it does seem like if they cater to the same market, or at least the same target. Software, on the other hand, is a completely different approach from both companies. Oppo stays true to its ColorOS, now in version 2.0.1, running on top of Android 4.4.4, and even though HTC handles the same version of Android, you are running on top of HTC Sense 6, which is very much acclaimed. While Oppo values variety with endless options from visual transitions, themes, widgets, and wallpapers online, the One M8 is less giving of features but more refined in the way the UI looks, behaves, and in giving you features that actually matter. Some of the extras of the Oppo R5 are great, like for example the multiple camera modes, in which some of these are very useful, but still, the One M8 is no slouch when it comes to the features that matter, and you do have the option in camera modes, for example, to add more options. And probably one of the coolest things about HTC Sense 6 is that you have these sliding UI transitions within every single application that comes from HTC that allows you to take extra advantage of everything that you do, like in a contact card. While features like drawing commands on the Oppo R5 seem to be more like gimmicks to the users it targets, the One M8 delivers on a simplistic approach that is smarter in every way. Another thing you probably won't like about ColorOS is that, yes, it is extremely skeuomorphic compared to HTC's more digitally authentic Sense 6, and again, it depends on your taste. Now, where the One M8 completely outclasses the Oppo R5 as an user experience. Surely the Oppo R5 offers a broader software experience, but the device's Snapdragon 615 octa-core processor clearly struggles to deliver because of how skeuomorphic and heavy the UI is. The Snapdragon 801 on the One M8 is far superior in many ways, but given the lack of bloat in HTC Sense 6, that also contributes to a more pleasant experience overall. When playing graphics-intensive games, the One M8 handles everything you throw at it with ease. The Oppo R5 is definitely no slouch when it comes to performance, but you can notice some lag here and there when playing games. Both devices do heat up after some extensive gaming, but the Oppo R5's cool element shifting technology clearly does a better job at keeping the device cool to the touch, or at least decently, as you'll notice that it heats up from the top and not from the bottom as the One M8 does. You'd think that these performance changes would give us better battery life, or at least some significant differences between both devices, but that's actually not the case. Both devices will get you through the day with moderate to heavy use, but that's it. Again, what gives the R5 a clear win is Oppo's rapid charging technology, and especially if you compare two devices without replaceable batteries. Phone calls and data speeds are also comparable on both devices. Callers couldn't tell a difference between one device or the other through the earpiece and through the speaker either, even though the One M8 does have the boom sound speakers. We couldn't tell any differences as well, and obviously, yes, you do have better depth when it comes to the HTC One M8, but the R5 is no slouch with its single speaker. It is plenty loud. Camera performance is where things get tricky. The R5 sports a bigger 13 megapixel count on its back camera compared to the 4 ultra-pixel dual camera on the HTC One M8, and yeah, both devices have the same 5 megapixel count at the front. The R5 also gives you a ton of additional shooting modes that really make this camera useful, but in that same vein, HTC does provide you with some options and you can actually save other modes, an option you don't have on the R5. Photos on both devices are significantly different though. Colors pop a lot more on the HTC One M8 when compared to the Oppo R5. Well, you'll notice that even though these colors are a little more accurate, they do tend to be a little dull at times. Still, the lack of detail on HTC's photos and the lack of zoomability would make the Oppo R5 more useful to some of you. Night shots and video are where I personally find the One M8 to be far superior, but your opinion may vary. You'll notice that the One M8 does overbloat photos a lot, but again, you're looking for detail at night, right? Overall, let's be honest here. Both of these devices were made with very different users in mind. This is the latest and greatest flagship from HTC's 2014 lineup, while the R5 is just part of Oppo's lineup, where you'll find devices like the Find 7 to be superior and better comparable to the One M8. If you're a power user, the One M8 is a device for you, and if you're not, then either of these devices will suit you just fine. Folks, our review of the Oppo R5 is already live, and there is a lot more coverage and comparisons as well. Make sure you follow us on social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera. Again, I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow. Thank you very much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw, and we will see you on the next video.